everyone. Welcome to the Golden Ratio Podcast. I am Jen, GR Mom, joined as always by GR Dad.
Hi.
How's it going, GR Dad?
It's pretty good.
Excellent.
It's pretty good. I always join you for these things. You've done like two without me. It's pretty good. I'm very pleased with my record of attendance.
A+ for attendance.
Yay.
Man, it has been a week.
Hasn't it been like 3 days?
I don't even know. Like time.
Liz, it's only Wednesday.
Oh my God. The cocktail of the week this week is the sleepyhead cocktail. We didn't do that last week, did we?
Don't think so. No.
Fuck it. If we did, it's fine.
We didn't.
The sleepyhead cocktail is cognac, lime juice, ginger syrup, sugar syrup, mint leaves, and soda water. That's pretty good.
We have a lot of mint leaves right now. We have a mint plant that's quite prolific.
It is. It's making nice, big, fat mint leaves, too.
It doesn't even know where to go with
None
itself.
of this scraggly stuff.
And boy, does it want to go places.
Yeah.
It wants to come in the house. Aye.
Are you done?
Yeah.
How many drinks have you had tonight, dear Dad?
Here and there. 2 ish.
All right. It's going to go off the rails fast. Administrative corner.
I love administrative corner.
Someone asked about Zuck's Bucks and if that was still happening. Us taking Mark Zuckerberg's money.
I really had to figure out what that was all about.
Zuck's Bucks.
Hilarious.
Yeah, so I had been posting like towards the end of every month on Instagram, like, hey, everybody go watch our Instagram story. And we were making like a decent amount of money from Facebook and Instagram for reels and plays. And what always happens with this stuff is when they start doing a program like that, they test it out and they see if it works. And then you can't like rely that's going to be your income because they're always going to change the program so you make way, way, way less money.
Moving the goalposts, I think it's called.
And they did, which is, it's fine. Like I expected it. There's no way that they could remain solvent if they kept paying the rates that they were.
Yes, they could. That's a lot of billions that they have that they could pay out.
I mean, I guess. So they, the goal for many months for me, I want to say starting like November of December last year, was to get basically 1.1 million views on my reels.
Yeah.
And would get $1,000 bonus.
Which is a lot. It seems like a lot.
Mm-hmm. You didn't get more than $1,000. So if I got 1 billion views, I still would just get $1,000. That's how it worked.
Yep.
And if I got half of that, like I'd get partial money. So it's not like an all or nothing thing.
Yeah, that's right.
But I was hitting that goal every month. And then last month, it was like, okay, instead of 1.1 million views for your $1,000, you need 11 million views.
11 million.
11 million views.
So
10 times as many.
Quite an acceleration.
And I was just barely hitting the 1.1 million views.
With everyone's help, thank you.
Thank you. And a lot of help and also a lot of work. Like I was posting a lot of reels and like cross posting on stories. I was doing a lot of content creation to get that $1,000. And then they're like, how about 10 times as many? And I'm like, fuck you, no.
Yeah.
So like technically it's still a thing, but instead of getting $1,000 a month, it's like if I worked just as hard, I'd get $150 a month. And if I work very little, I get like $100 a month. And so that's what I'm doing.
So who are they giving the money to now? The Kardashians, Olivia Rodrigo. I mean, all people who are rich already.
You're 100% making this shit up. You have no idea who they're giving money to.
I'm making it up.
Yes. Okay.
But I'm thinking who has the most followers.
I don't think that this program is necessarily available to people with the most followers.
Oh, because for them, 11 million would be easy. And they also don't need $1,000.
Yeah, they don't need to be incentivized to create content because they're making lots of money from other places.
Endorsements.
So anyway, oh dear Dad, you are wound up tonight. This is gonna be a pod.
Yeah. I thought I was pretty well behaved. Imagine if I hadn't been restraining myself.
So anyway, that's the status of Zuck's Bucks. Now I will say the nice thing is that as the pretty decent income that we were getting from Facebook and Instagram disappeared a couple months ago, it aligned when Snapchat started experimenting with ads in stories, which is making us a lot of money.
Yeah, jam them in there. I mean, it's
They just
they put them in there. It's
just
not
like Instagram stories. They just plop the ads in
like
the middle.
In the middle of a running story, like, you know, like Venk gets her carrot, and then there's an ad, and then she has her carrot.
Yeah. You know, so they're still working it out. I mean, they just started this program, but we are making, you know, I think more than we were making from the Facebook stuff from Snapchat.
I think
It's paying
so.
pretty
Yeah,
well.
I think so.
But it's another thing where like that's clearly going to go away eventually, or go way down, right? Like they're testing it out. Like it's part of the, you know, we were one of the few accounts that they picked to start it. I think, you know, we have 700,000 active followers on Snapchat. It's so much more than Instagram and Twitter. But there's no community there, right? Like it's like people can kind of comment to us, and they do on occasion, but like,
we can't respond to all the comments because there are a lot.
It's our audience there is crazy. So we have like 500,000, 600,000 followers. And then 82% of the views that we get on our story are not from people who follow us.
That's hilarious.
So we do get millions and millions of views on our content every day. We must be one of the bigger accounts on Snapchat at this point. I don't know. Anyway, so they, you know, we're trying out this new program. It's working out great for us for now. We're not relying on it being there in the future, but we'll totally take Snapchat's money in the meantime, and you guys don't have to do anything. Like
just for the record, I only follow once. I'm not like 800,000 of those followers.
You don't have 800,000 accounts, is what you're saying?
Not on Snapchat.
Okay. You don't have multiple. You've got like 2 Twitter accounts, and that's hard for you to manage.
I know.
It's cute, 2 accounts.
It's cute.
All right, you ready for dog updates?
I was referring more to the purchasing the merch kind of stuff. Like, I can only support ourselves with one account as hard as I can. Am I ready for merch updates? Yay!
Dog updates. No merch updates. We don't have any new merch.
Dog updates? Yay!
Okay. Oh. All right. So Haber MRSA infection update. So last Monday she got a tube, like drain, put in to the spot where she was getting her abscess. And then why are you laughing?
I mean, it was so sort of medieval. It looked like an air conditioner drain vent that they put in her that was like sticking out.
Wait till you see what actual medieval medicine was like.
No, it's worse. It's worse. There were no leeches involved, but it was like just a drain sticking out. They didn't wrap it or anything because it has to drain.
Yeah. So she got that out on Friday. We now have to do warm compresses, and by we I mean me. And you hate doing it.
No, she hates it when I do it. Haven't we established this?
I don't know. I haven't seen you do it because
the look she gave me. The look she gave me.
So warm compresses, and then we've got this like big syringe with like a curvy, pointy plastic tip on it that we stick up in the little hole where the drain was and squirt in this chlorhexidine, which is like an antibacterial solution, to flush it out. And the chlorhexidine will work against MRSA. So she's doing okay so far. I mean, there's a hole in there, so it's not going to fill up with gunk because it can drain out, and we're flushing it out. I hope nobody's eating lunch when they're listening to the podcast. There's more gross stuff coming.
Spoiler alert. Don't eat lunch.
So she's doing okay. Seems relatively happy, but can't swim, can't go in the water. You know, it is what it is. I'm bringing her in on Friday to get that rechecked, so there will be updates. Brody also had surgery on Monday to take off the lump on his elbow. And if you were following us this weekend, Ingo brought him in, and the biopsy results came back, and he had a plasma tumor. So it was cancerous, but since they took the whole damn callus off, which was giant, I mean, it was several inches across, they just took the whole thing off. They got it all. Real wide margins on that thing.
Yeah, they did exactly the right thing for what ended up being a cancer.
And I got to say, like, big credit to Dr. Stacy, who is the one who was just kind of, like, we brought him in because I was like, he's really anxious and just weird. And she was just giving him a once-over. I wasn't even going to mention that thing. And she looked at it and she's like, what's this? And I was like, man, can't get that to heal. And she's like, And I could just tell she's like, this looks problematic. Like she knew right away from looking at it.
On Saturday, she said, I was pretty sure that's what it was. From looking at it, the biopsy kind of confirmed it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
she knows her stuff.
very, very impressed that she just looked at it and like I was just like, oh, he's just got a sore there. And she was like, this needs to come off.
Yeah, and what they told me, it would not have healed by itself. It was kind of reddish and inflamed, and it just wouldn't not. It was bad, and it wouldn't have gotten better.
I think they also told you if you got to have cancer, this is the one to get.
That was their attempt at positivity. Yes.
So 70 more months.
74 months, big man.
I should
polar
look this
bear.
up. Plasma tumor prognosis. I didn't look at how many months we're supposed to get. Let's see. Oh. Stages. Oh, this is too long.
Brody's going to be 20 years old.
Oh my God. I don't know if I can put up with his old man bad attitude for another 8.5 years.
He's a lovable, grumpy old man.
He's a very grumpy old man.
He may be part polar bear.
So anyway, I don't know how many months he gets. Everybody's going to say 70 anyway, so who cares?
I'm gonna. 70 more months, big man.
So he had that surgery on Monday, and on Thursday I was looking at it and I was like, this doesn't look the best. It looks kind of gross. I had to go up to Maryland for a work thing this weekend, so I flew up on Friday, and Ingo was talking to me Friday, and he's like, it looks kind of like this, and I was like, you need to take him to the vet. And so Saturday you did that. Saturday you took him to the vet.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, it doesn't look really good. And they rewrapped it and they gave you some antibiotics.
Mm-hmm. They rinsed it and, whatever.
And then you brought me home. You picked me up at the airport on Sunday. And I got home and I flushed out Hopper's wound. And I was going to rewrap Brody's thing. And it was gross and infected. Like one of the stitches at like the bend part had come out like a big gaping wound, like oozy. It was just nasty.
It was moist, buddy.
And
moist.
Thank God they're doing on-call hours at that vet now. So I called him. I was like, Chief Brody coming in. And so I brought him in and they're like, oh, yeah, that's not good. So they tried just giving him a shot to make him sleep and tried stitching it back up then, but it was hurting him. Like you could see him trying to go like, ouch, it hurts when you're stitching that up.
Big man.
And so then they had to take him back into surgery and give him anesthesia, and they put 2 new levels of stitches in, like a under layer and a top layer. And so now we have to rewrap it every day and put the antibiotic ointment on it and wrap it up. And of course there's MRSA all over the house from Hops and
yeah, that's
just crawling around. This damn thing, we cannot keep the wrapping actually on the incision because it's at the bend of his elbow. And so I rewrap it, and like, you don't want to put it too tight because then his leg gets puffy and he doesn't have circulation. And that's really bad for all kinds of reasons. But then like the thing falls down. I rewrap that thing like 5 times a day. I am so tired of it. It has been like 2 days and we have to keep it for 14 days before he gets the stitches out. So hopefully in like a week, it'll be healed up enough that he doesn't have to have it wrapped all the time. But then he has to wear the cone because he would 100% lick at it. He licks at it now. Do you want to take him out?
Yeah, let me try.
Okay. All right. Ingo is going to take Brody out, and instead 3 dogs are now eating food. Nobody has gone out. It's absolute chaos in the household. It's a good thing I'm the one focusing in here.
They have taken a vote and they're happy with the way things are.
The other thing that I put down here is that Ingo has a theory that Brody can't really hear well anymore, and this was sort of established by the fact that there was some thunder and he didn't freak the hell out this week.
Yeah, it was at some point Remy got like nervous for the thunder.
Mm-hmm. He does not like it.
He does not like it, but he acts a little bit better about it than Brody, and Brody was kind of just sleeping through the thing, which was okay. We want that.
Yeah, that's a win.
Later, of course, it was loud enough for Brody to hear, and things turned more dramatic as usual.
Yep. That's it on dog updates. Vink is fine. Guac is fine. Remy is fine.
Yeah.
You wanted to say that Remy's cataracts are continuing to dissolve.
According to our layperson analysis, yes.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remy's a miscreant, though. He's stepping in for Voods now. He's taking cans out of the recycling and
pulled
stuff.
cans out of the recycling. I mean, I guess Vink twice in the last 2 days, has pulled Kleenex out of the box to just like rip them up.
In full view. Like, she's not embarrassed about it or guilty about it. She walks over there and goes,
yoink.
I'm gonna get a Kleenex. I'm bored.
Yeah.
I want a Kleenex. I mean, she's the original agent of chaos, and it still holds. Yeah.
All right. Under ramblings, I have Ingo texted die to me on a plane. So I was getting ready to fly home on Sunday, and I always text from the plane that I just want you to know I'm on the plane. We're getting ready to push back, and if I crash, I love you.
This is a very post 9/11 thing.
I text this every time.
For you kids out there.
And Ingo said, I love you too. And then like 5 minutes later, I get like, ding, you have a text while I'm waiting to take off. And the text just says, so die.
So bad.
And I responded, what?
It was such a...
Ingo didn't write back.
And then you called me.
It showed the little dots, deet, deet, deet. And then they went away.
And then you called me.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, do you want me to die? And of course, I was like, I don't know,
you were
shampooing hops or something at the time. And I had the phone in my pocket. And it
just decided to tell me to die.
Butt dials, and I have the German keyboard on, so the options were der, die, das, and it was like, and it picked D, which is DIE. I mean, I was so...
It's the feminine form of D.
I was shocked that my phone was being so violent and threatening.
Die, Jen.
Die. Yeah.
Isn't that a Simpsons plot?
Maybe.
Die, Bart, die. And they're like, oh, no, it's German.
Maybe.
I think so.
Sounds like something they would do. But I didn't, and that must have been the dots where I was just walking around and it was like preparing to type like, I don't know, whatever the German word it was going to send to you. Bad German word.
I mean, I got to say, I did probably figure that it was a German keyboard.
It was grim. It was grim, though. It's just a text that says die.
And especially that he didn't text me back, right? That it's like, I'm like, was he like snooping through my stuff and found something and misinterpreted?
Oh my goodness,
and, like,
never.
Thought it was bad and then was just like, die. But at least then you'd be like, die bitch or something.
There's never. I would never.
No, you never would. You never would.
You've watched too many like murder things. This is terrible.
It's always the husband like reading the wife's text messages.
But even reading the text, I was like, this is the most grim thing I've ever seen. It just says, with a capital D.
Capital
die.
D. Die.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, I know.
For me, it said D.
Yeah. It's like you just texted die at me.
No,
and then when the plane landed.
It was the. I texted the.
We landed and Ingo was picking me up at the airport, and so I texted him, we just landed and I didn't die, much to your chagrin. It was funny.
That was scary.
And you never read my stuff or whatever. It's all fine.
You didn't know.
I just want everybody to know that's not a thing that happens here. Ingo doesn't go through my stuff.
No, you just watch a lot of murder podcasts.
What
ABC.
Were you the one who sent me the meme this week that was like, you want me to get married? The thing that kills all the women on Dateline?
Yes. Do you want me to get a husband?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you guys, if I die, you better look at Ingo.
Oh, yeah. If you die, I'm the prime suspect.
No, you're great. Except for that one text.
That's what they all say ahead of time.
Yeah. Okay. So for Taste of the Keys this week, I just, we were going to do a different thing, and then we were like, that's too much of a bummer. But excitement in the tropics.
Agatha.
Hurricane Agatha is a Pacific hurricane.
What
Pacific
is it doing
cyclone.
out of place?
It came on over to Mexico and was like, zoop, I'm jumping over into the Gulf.
Boundaries, Agatha, boundaries.
Boundaries like Pacific Atlantic crossover, baby. This is a thing that occasionally happens. There have been 18 Pacific Atlantic Pacific crossover cyclones.
Like ever.
Since records started being kept in like the 1850s. The vast majority of them are Atlantic to Pacific. There have been like 3 Pacific to Atlantic crossovers, and it looks like we're going to get one.
That's not great.
So Agatha crossed over. I'm looking at the map right now. It is now a tropical disturbance, right? It was a hurricane.
Is it still over the Yucatan, or is it over water next to the Yucatan?
It's kind of right at the Yucatan Peninsula right now, which is not the best news for us because the potential path is that it could have kind of curved north before it got to the Yucatan, but it looks like it's going to cross over the Yucatan. So it's coming into the Gulf. And, who knows if it's actually going to develop. There's, I've been looking at all the models.
There's
I got
many different models
up here.
Still early.
But, yeah, look, do you see this, Ingo?
Oh, that path is like nips Cuba and hits pretty much
straight in the middle of the Florida Keys.
That's not good.
Yeah. So the 5-day tropical weather outlook for the Florida Keys shows a pretty good chance that Agatha is going to strengthen. 70% chance that it will form into a tropical storm. Then I think it'll become Tropical Storm Anne.
Wait, they have to rename it?
I think it gets an Atlantic name. I think so. I don't know. Maybe they'll keep it.
Waste of names. Agatha's a perfectly good name.
I agree.
I don't like it, but it's a perfectly good name. I would not name my dog Agatha.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's not a cone now. There's just sort of like they do a little blob, which is like where they think it's gonna go. Excuse me. And it's going from like Cancun, nipping the edge of Cuba, and the Keys are basically right in the middle.
Yeah.
So it, I mean, some of these storms turn up really fast. Though usually, like the big spin ups, like the big hurricanes tend to come from Africa.
Yeah.
And you can see them coming for like a week or two, and they get bigger and bigger, and they take all that warm water all the way across the Atlantic Ocean to really spin themselves up to be powerful. You will occasionally see these little tropical depressions pop up like in the Gulf or like in the Caribbean, and you go, well, that doesn't have any time. And then all of a sudden it's like just this big giant hurricane. But that tends to be like September that happens when you've had like all summer for the water to get really warm and kind of fuel it. So, I'm not a meteorologist, but it would be really unusual for this to strengthen into anything like a major hurricane. It's got to come off the Yucatan, and then it's actually a pretty small distance, a few hundred miles from the Yucatan to the Keys to pick up a lot of strength there. I mean, that's at a totally, I wouldn't be surprised by a tropical storm or even a Category 1 hurricane. Looking at the weather forecast for the weekend, the National Weather Service Key West put out a map today on Twitter that's like, there's going to be a lot of rain this weekend, you guys. Like, yeah, we're looking. We don't really know what it's going to do, but like, here's a map.
Double-digit inches.
Yeah, 10 inches of rain this weekend, regardless of if it strengthens or not. So, it's always very uncertain with these storms because they can take a little bend and then it's like sunny. There's in so many times where it's like, we've secured the house, we've moved everything in, we've done all of this work, and then it's sunny with a light breeze all weekend because it curves. And it doesn't have to curve that far.
And Cuba's big. I mean, it could easily get hung up on Cuba. Cuba's big, it has mountains. That could really throw it out of whack or slow it down.
Yeah, and the last I'm looking at the spaghetti models page and I don't see any tracks on here, but the spaghetti-models.com is great if you're into tropical storm tracking.
I was gonna say, you say you're not a meteorologist, but you're pretty good at this stuff.
I mean, I'm a scientist, so I have a better than average understanding, but definitely not a meteorologist's understanding. But yeah, the spaghetti models, some of them were showing it kind of hitting up in the Florida Panhandle, where it took a much more northerly turn.
Even now.
I mean, they don't have any now, I think, because it's weekend. They're like waiting till it gets back over the water. There was one, that was the most northern one. There was one that showed it passing like just under the Keys, like under Key West. So we would catch the northern part of the storm and then a bunch in the middle. So it was kind of hitting all over the west coast of Florida. So who knows? It'll be interesting to see, but it's going to be a very active weekend. Maybe I will get to put my tropical storm warning flag out for the first time this season.
Yeah, let's just do tropical storm warning. Let's just keep one of those squares out.
Yeah, so it's the storm flags are square, and they're red squares with a black square in the middle. And one flag is a tropical storm and 2 flags is a hurricane.
Yeah, let's just do
2
one.
flags.
No, just do one.
Yeah, 1 is fine.
Yeah, but either way, it's going to rain a lot.
It's going to
much,
rain
right?
a lot. Not that you care because you're not even going to be here.
I'll be out of range.
How far out of range?
4,000 miles out of range.
Yep, you're going to Germany.
I am.
You haven't seen your family since before.
I know. My dad
COVID.
might have a beard.
Does he?
I don't know. He might. I haven't seen him in 3 years. I don't know. I don't think so.
I am excited for you.
We're not a Zoom family.
Be safe.
He's barely able to log into email.
Oh, yeah, it's real tough getting them to...
My parents still share an email address.
They're in their 80s.
They share an email address. Yeah. I don't never know if it's my dad writing or my mom.
That's true. They don't sign it. Yeah.
No, they do sign it, but it's all the way at the end.
Yeah.
They sign it like a formal letter.
Yeah, well.
Greetings.
It's great that they're in their 80s and emailing.
It's true. It's true. But they still, when we're on the phone, they still think it costs a lot of money to be on the phone. So they like
they do,
don't
yeah.
like to talk. They're
like,
like,
it's free.
We'll let you go now. We gotta go. Bye.
That's it. I want to add one more.
Wait, I haven't done the germ words, but
oh
but
my
you
God,
gotta,
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right.
All right, no, and I have a late breaking administrative corner, but do
the administrative corner first. Oh my God, that's so much better.
No, I want to wrap up with it.
All right, someone was talking about I should do as a germ word. I should talk about yeeting jellyfish, which is a great idea. A friend of the squad said that, so it would be Qualle is jellyfish.
Mm-hmm.
Wegschmeißen is to throw away. And wegschmeißen.
Like
Schmeißen.
W-E-G.
That means away, right?
Yeah. I'm just trying to break it into the parts. Wegschmeißen. So weg, away.
Yeah, and schmeißen is to throw or to toss.
Yeah.
Schleudern would be to like sling something. So maybe schleudern is better.
Didn't we? But Seelenschleudern is a German word that we've done before.
Yeah,
bacteria flingers.
Yeah. It's a slinger and flinger of bacteria.
That's where like we're walking down the street and I'm like, we need to cross the street because there's too many Seelenschleudern on the other side of the street.
It's a germ flinger.
Mm-hmm. We're going to get COVID from those Seelenschleudern.
Yeah, and Rechen is a rake. The garden rake is a Rechen.
Qual weg. Say it again.
Quallen wegschleudern. I mean, I would probably say Rechenquallen wegschleudern would be the word that contains it all. Using a rake.
Quallen wegschleudern.
Yeah. Rechenquallen
Jellyfish away throwing.
Yes. And Rechenquallen wegschleudern would be rake. Jellyfish slinging away.
The super follows and Patreons last week, this is a good transition, got a video of GR Dad yeeting the jellyfish with his rake.
These stingy little jellyfish, they sting me.
Yes.
I hate them.
So we made a 3-minute video of GR Dad yeeting the jellyfish last week.
Discovered I can fling them with my rake. Without having to touch them.
We have ordered a $19 youth tennis racket from Amazon to try additional yeeting materials. There's some talk of a lacrosse stick.
That's
if
right.
you want that kind of content, you can become a super follower or Patreon for $4.99 a month. Which leads me into the late breaking administrative corner.
Late breaking. Go ahead.
That's good.
Yeah.
Was that supposed to be Morse code or just like general newsy
I think
sounds?
the ticker. It's the ticker.
We're going to start doing for now, once a month, who knows if it becomes more frequent, bonus podcast for the Patreons and super followers.
What now? We are?
We literally talked about this like 3 times today.
I know, I'm just doing a bit.
Oh, okay.
Suspend your disbelief or whatever.
Yeah, we are. I just said it.
We're not doing improv. We're not doing improv.
Yes, and
you and me.
I talked to you about it 3 times today.
That's great. That was really good. I got burned. Good one.
So, they're probably not going to be as long as the regular podcast. As soon as we finish recording this one, we're going to record the first episode of the Super Follower Patreon bonus pod, which is odd news from Germany that I'm going to read to Ingo and have him respond to. I've got like 20 stories.
Spoiler alert, I will not be more sober.
That's true.
The way this is going.
No kidding.
Also, that yes and was awesome. I'm so impressed.
So, I have started listening to some podcasts that I then supported on Patreon and discovered that they have bonus podcasts. And I was like, this is what I need in my life. And I was like, we should totally do that. Like, I would listen to that.
Wait, you didn't know they did that?
I mean, like, I kind of, like, they had said, and I just hadn't processed it. And then I caught up on all the past episodes, and I was like, oh, no, I'm out, and I have to wait every 2 weeks to get a new episode. And then I was like, but wait, like, I can, like, I thought I'd have to watch them as, like, videos or something, but you actually get, like, a special private RSS feed that you can just add in, and then.
Yes, RSS. I've done this with one podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, the War Stories one. It was
now
cool.
Now I've got it. Now I've got, like, 8 or 10 more episodes that I can listen to.
Amazing.
So we're going to do that. It's not going to be every week, but at least once a month. Bonus pod for the super followers. So
it'll be me snoring and you going, Ingo, Ingo, Ingo.
that's what happens when we watch shark movies.
There's a shark movie on. And I'm like,
he did that last night.
This one again, didn't we watch this already? And you're like, no, technically we haven't. And I said, I know, but we have.
You fall asleep.
We have seen this one. This one we have seen before. It's the same thing. It's in the bayou. There's a shark.
Yeah.
It's a bull shark. It's surprising, and there's some kind of love.
And they shoot at it, and it blows
there's
up.
some kind of love interest.
Yeah. So if you want more podcast content, I mean, everybody who wants that's probably a super follower or Patreon anyway. But coming to super followers and patrons,
too much.
more yeeting videos and bonus podcasts. All right.
But the podcast is going to be like me doing this. Bleh.
I mean, Ingo offered to host it, and I was like, yes. And then I was like, maybe episode 2.
What are you afraid of, Jay?
You know what? I'll let you host this.
No, it's fine. I'm not prepared.
All right. So anyway, that's everything for this week. You got anything left to add, dear Dad?
Call my bluff. No, I'm quite happy with how this is turning out.
Are you going to remote pod from Germany next week?
Don't know. Maybe I'll fly back for a day. Probably not.
The podcast will probably just be a little late next week.
Probably not.
Because you get back on Thursday, right?
I do.
So we'll probably podcast Thursday.
Thursday evening.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Well, until next week, then Slava Ukraini, and don't bite anyone unless they ask you to.
Yes to both.
Bye.
Bye.